We are back for our
1-0, baby.
FIU preview.
1-0, baby.
Feels good to be 1-0, man.
That's the best intro ever. I'm sorry, that has to be the official intro now. I love that too much for us to not do that again. That was tremendous.
So we got another game in Beaver Stadium tomorrow. Week 2. We're lucky enough to be playing week 2. A couple teams got bye weeks.
Florida International University, boys and girls. As I like to say, this is preseason game number 2, and this is no disrespect to Nevada, no disrespect to FIU or the teams we're playing for. Listen, I think we did this on purpose this year to set ourselves up. You know, I think Coach Franklin's all in, and he's doing it the right way.
Yeah. Like I said, the blueprint's there. Michigan did this 2 years ago. Ohio State did it last year. Like, this is kind of the blueprint for the last 2 years is get right the first few weeks and then be at your best come conference season when it starts.
100%. And I couldn't agree with you more there. I think it's definitely the blueprints there. It's like you can see it on the wall. I see the plan, and I feel like as long as we do this week by week, and I've said this all year, left foot, right foot, we're gonna get through this.
Yeah, because as good as Nevada felt, 35-point win. There was obvious things that need to get better.
A couple things that really, and now that I've had a few days to think about this, I need the running backs. That was a huge red flag. Come week 1 was a huge red flag there. We need to see the two-headed beast unleashed. I'm not quite sure what, and that Nevada O-line was, like we said, and we talked with Dylan, that was not a big O-line or a big D-line.
Mm-hmm.
So come conference play, I hopefully these boys might just have a little lead in their feet and they'll be able to get it out. But the run game right now, of all the things that I could say, that is my biggest concern for Penn State would be the run game.
Yeah. Landon Tangwell, who was a offensive lineman, does awesome video breakdowns of Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
He broke down the offensive line. It was the run game, and it was pretty much based on the offensive line. Like, they just weren't getting off that first guy to get to the second level.
And you can see that just as a casual fan, there was no engagement to the next level. I don't think I saw very few plays. I saw offensive linemen getting to a linebacker, and that's where you have and that just comes down to fundamentals. You have to engage. You've got 5 linemen. You got to engage, and then you got to get to the next level. That's just standard. Offensive line work, and that's a little frustrating for me, and I don't like that. And as you can see, I'm a little flustered.
Yeah, tail end of last season, we were breaking big runs against Notre Dame, Boise, SMU, Oregon, and it was just kind of a disappointment. Nevada, first game of the year, I think our longest rush was 13 yards.
I believe it was. When we rushed for 60 yards, I think in the whole game.
135, but...
Or 60. I meant back by back. It was 60-40 or something like that.
Yeah. And there was zero explosiveness from the rushing game, which
also a lack of attempts, though. What I noticed too. I think there were maybe 20 carries, 22 carries.
Katron and Nick both had 8 apiece. Drew had 6. And then the backups had 10 between them.
So 32. But less than 20 carries between our two, who could be arguably the 2 top players on the team. So maybe this is Coach Franklin's just, slow rolling them in. Maybe he's got an idea here. Hopefully he does. But I just did not like the productivity out of the running backs on Saturday.
Right. I mean, I'm hoping maybe it was like a wake up call for that offensive line, and we see them come out and like do what they were doing last year, pushing people around.
Yeah, I want to see bodies move, and once again, not to beat a dead horse for people who have watched the show, but I want bodies moving. All right, I want to see bodies moving, and I did not see bodies moving on Saturday. We got a great win. Don't get me wrong, but we had to go over the top to get a few of those, and have a couple other things here and there. I want to see bodies moving in the trenches at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. And then, I mean, we have our expert interview coming later from earlier in the week that we're going to show you guys here on the live show. And from what he kind of said, that the defense line's the strength of the defense here. They're super young in the secondary. So it would be a good barometer of seeing them make that next step from last week.
It is kind of taking a step in the next direction. I like that because we're going to see now. We've got a team now who's got a more formidable D line. Let's see now if the offensive line here can answer the call, wake up a little, and take care of business.
Yeah, because they're gonna have to they're gonna have it for Oregon, Iowa, Ohio State. Like once we get into the Big Ten play, this team needs to be led by Singleton and Allen.
100%, absolutely.
And then the new receivers and Drew, like, just work off of it. Like, we need the run to set up the pass, not the pass to set up the run.
100%. And granted, the receivers look great on Saturday. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it was kind of nice to see. It was almost like an inverse of what I thought was going to happen. I thought the question mark was going to be on the receivers with Aller, and the running game was just going to carry us through. But it was kind of a happy accident to be able to see the receiving game. What were there, 10 different players who had catches, I think, or something along those lines on Saturday, and it was good to see that. But on the other end, we got to see that run game. I'm not going to stop harping on it.
Yeah, we have to see them break a couple and be explosive. Like, that was the whole talk going into last season was, where's the explosive plays? And then we finally got them last season. We can't revert back to being the 15 play, 70-yard drives. Like, those are awesome. They're super nice to have when you need them, but you also like, the 5 plays, 60-yard drives.
100%.
Where you
get down there, get the offense off the field, get them a breather, and then let our defense, because our defense is stacked after what I saw on Saturday. Let the defense can be out there substantially longer than the offense can.
Yeah. I mean, the defense is going to hold its own. Didn't really look like Jim Knowles, like they missed a beat on defense. They got the late touchdown against the second and third stringers. So not really a big issue with the defense.
No, that was a garbage time touchdown. That defense held strong all the way through against what we were told to be was a pretty decently high-powered offense Nevada team. It wasn't like we were going against something that wasn't, like they had Chuba Purdy, they had the receivers, they had a bunch of guys on that team that were that could play. So we didn't go in there, with some flop, flop team or anything like that.
Yeah. And speaking of the defense, like, we need to see them shut down the run because Florida International rushed for 6 touchdowns last week.
6, boys and girls. And that'll be something that we bring up here in our interview to come here.
But yeah, I mean, you got to shut down team's best with the other team's strength. You shut that down, make them uncomfortable, and that's the recipe for success there.
I'm excited to see with FIU coming in here. And right before I think we get to the interview, I think you and I have a couple predictions. And by the way, I still owe you a 6-pack from our last prediction. So you let me know what you want. You send me the amount and I'll send that over to you. But I'm going to try to double down and get it back here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Double or nothing?
Well, double. No, actually, no. I wouldn't mind just having a 6-pack sent to my house if you know what I mean. But no, we'll go double or nothing. I love it. 12-pack or nothing. Okay, FIU versus Penn State. You wouldn't happen to have the odds in front of you by chance.
I'm bringing them up right now.
That's why I'm slowly talking about this. This is we're going to be our prediction segment of the show. We're going to go ahead and see FIU versus Penn State. What do you got for us?
Minus 41.5. So Penn State is 41.5 point favorites. Over under 53.5. So you're talking.
Give me the under. 6 rushing touchdowns last week. There's no way. Give me the under.
Yeah, you're definitely talking.
And give me FIU to cover.
You think they're going to keep it closer than 41.5?
41 is insane.
I mean, we were covering until the last.
That's 5 touchdowns.
6 touchdowns.
No, it's not. It's 5 touchdowns and 2 field goals.
See, I'm going 6 touchdowns and a missed extra point.
Oh, so I don't want my kicker missing field goals. All right, here we go. So here's my prediction. I'm going over under is 53.
53.5.
No, that can't. Okay, yeah. All right, give me the under. Give me FIU to cover. Final score 38-10.
38-10. See, I'm going opposite. Like I think the offensive line is going to take the last game to heart. I think we're going to see Nick and K-Tron get going, the backups get going. I'm going to go 49-7, so they just barely cover at the 42.
Okay.
So I'm going to go 49-7, and that's also going to put me in the over.
Yep, that puts you in the over.
So I'm going to go Penn State covering because James Franklin loves to cover.
Okay.
Good teams win, but great teams cover.
This is true.
So, yeah, I'm going with Penn State minus 41.5, as much as that sounds crazy. And the over.
All right, boys. You heard it, boys and girls. You heard it here. We're locked it in. But with that being said, it's going to be an interesting one here. You know what? This is going to be an interesting one. You, as you were talking, I felt like my balloon was losing a little air. But you are going off of your prediction for the rest of the season. I'm going off what I've seen for the season so far. So this will be a very interesting, when we look through the looking glass to see what happens.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me see if they have any interesting player props here. They have Drew Aller
70 yards.
They have Drew Aller 230 yards or more.
Man, they really, that is right on the number.
Yeah, 230 gets you plus 107. So that means if you put $100 on him getting over 230, you win 107. So
230 is a lot for a college kid, and especially I really hope that they're going to try to establish the run. But that's a good one. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, the player props for same kind of plus odds there. They have K-Tron at 80 yards plus, and Nick at 70 plus.
I mean, if I'm going off what I've said based on my predictions, I would take the unders on both of those until they prove me wrong.
Let's see what else we got here. Anything interesting? First drive for Florida International. Punt is minus 390. So,
oh my God.
Odds are heavy. Odds are heavy that FIU punts.
God, just go 4-and-out and make me so much money.
Let's see what they got. The favorite for Penn State's first drive is touchdown, minus 230.
Man. Oof. All right. See, it's so weird. And you know what? Beating a dead horse. It's so weird to be in this position as a Penn State fan.
Yeah. Sitting at number 2 in the polls. a national championship favorite at this point.
Literally still sitting at 2 after a hurricane happened in week 1.
Yeah.
Just we're sitting here like, this is fine.
And like, if you're just going off of what teams looked like week 1, Texas is essentially out if that's what they are.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Notre Dame,
USC is the real deal.
73 points.
On the other end of that.
Nothing like dropping 73 points.
That'll wake your fan base up.
Oh, they have a game special. Will there be a punt return for a touchdown?
Oh God. I'm gonna go no.
Yeah, no is minus 1,800. So you have to put $1,800 on no to win $100.
Yeah, that's a big fat no.
Plus 600 on yes.
Nope, not doing it. Nope. Special teams has not proven me anything over the first week to say that was the thing. We had one, I think, for about 40, and that was about it. We had a great punt return as well, but we didn't house it. So I don't know where the special teams heads are at. That's not a bet I'm making in week 2 of college football.
Let's see. They have total touchdowns is at 7 over under.
Oh, under.
For total touchdowns between the two teams.
Under. I told you, 35-10.
Yeah, so you're at 6. Yeah, you're at 6. Yeah, you're at 6.
Yeah, under all day.
I'm at 8.
Yes. Under. Oh, it's even it's so great. Oh, that makes that so much better.
Right, that's essentially our bet is over under 7 touchdowns. No.
Yeah, that's basically the entire bet. That's basically everything that we've been talking about comes down to, is it 6, 7, or 8?
But yeah, I mean, it should be fine, a good game for Penn State to bounce back. Not even bounce back, because you had a 35-point win last week. You won by 5 touchdowns.
It's another tune-up game.
I think this needs to be the game where you show you're the number 2 team. Oh, I have a conspiracy theory for you before we hit it to the interview here.
Ooh, so, I like it. I like a good conspiracy theory.
So I listened to a podcast, Dan Le Batard show, that's out of Miami, Florida.
DLB, I'm very familiar.
And they are obviously excited because the U won, but this is actually pertaining to FIU. So all of a sudden, they went 1-0 against a FCS team and received votes in the coaches poll.
Really?
Yeah. So one of their people on the show who went to FIU has a conspiracy that the one vote came from James Franklin. So
he can get a little extra points for the college football playoff. I love that. I love that.
So you can say, look, they're receiving votes on the coaches poll.
James Franklin's just like
chess, not checkers.
Good. Let them have the vote.
I thought that was funny. Like,
that's great.
Just having James Franklin fill out his coaches poll and putting FIU at 25 just so they get.
That is so great. Just to get a little extra, just a little. How you doing? But that's one coach's vote right there. I see it. Yeah. Right? You see it? It's right there.
You look at that coach's poll; they're listed in there.
Say no game. It's real life.
But yeah, that's my conspiracy theory of the episode.
I love that.
But yeah, if you want to kick up that interview we had,
let's do it.
Kevin joined us on Wednesday and gave us kind of an FIU preview, so we can educate you guys on what's coming into Happy Valley tomorrow.
All right.
All right, we're here for another episode here on Penn State, Voice of College Football. And we have myself, Andy, Nick, our co-host, and special guest Kevin here from the Pause Up podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, happy you could make it with us here. So we're on week 2. College football's back. Everybody's kind of got a game under their belt. How did week 1 go for you guys, and what were you surprised with?
Yeah, look, it was a good week. I can't ask for a better win against a team like Bethune-Cookman. 42-9. Don't allow a touchdown for the first time since 2019. 6 rushing touchdowns, which is the most in program history, or at least tied for the most in program history. Overall, I couldn't ask for a better game. I think a lot of it you have to take with a grain of salt. But again, when it's kind of a sigh of relief. And FIU's had a lot of struggles against FCS opponents last year, losing to Monmouth. Year before that, only winning by 2 against Maine, and the year before that, which is the first year of Mike McIntyre, winning in, I think it was triple overtime against Bryant by 38-37. So to go in there, beat a team like Bethune-Cookman, probably the worst of those FCS teams, honestly, but still, just it was a sigh of relief. It was nice. But again, have to take it with a grain of salt, because now you're going from the worst team you'll possibly play this year to the best team you will play this year. So
now, you said that there's new coaching this year with Coach McIntyre. Have you seen a difference in the program since he's taken over? Like, do you see the program moving in a certain direction that you like?
yeah, 100%. It's much better than it was in years prior. Coach Mack, nothing against him, just unfortunately it wasn't working out. They had to make the move. You can't go 4-8 for 3 straight seasons with especially with the team they had last year. A lot of people believe that team was a bull team, and it comes down to coaching at the end of the day. And yeah, so this is a Penn State. An FIU team that now led by Willie Simmons, new staff, a lot of excitement, probably the most excitement I've seen around this program since I want to say the 2018-2019 seasons, which FIU was pretty damn good. So they're trying to get back to that level, if not even more than that. So yeah, 100%. Willie coming in, trying to set the culture, set the foundation of that culture, which is one of the biggest things. And there was really it was a fine culture. It wasn't a great culture. A lot of issues last season with that team, from what I understand. So it's completely different. They have 7 Fs, and one of those is family and fun, and those are the 2 that they've really been harping on and emphasizing throughout for spring, fall, and now obviously week 1. And they want to bring the fun back to football. And a lot of players, my understanding is they lost the love for the game, with that last coaching staff the last couple of years, and they felt like they're bringing that back, and they're instilling that into players, and they're enjoying being at FIU, and they're enjoying playing college football.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that James Franklin's had to kind of bring everybody back to too, with such high expectations. Is, hey, remember, this is supposed to be fun. At the end of the day,
Exactly.
one of the things I saw from the FIU game was, like you said, 6 rushing touchdowns. Like that's impressive against anybody. I know it's Bethune-Cookman, but is that the identity that FIU wants to have?
Yeah. Look, I mean, the last couple of years, FIU's really struggled to run the ball. And this is the first time since 2023 FIU has that marker of rushing yards. 223 was exactly that amount against North Texas 2 years ago in that win. But I think FIU in the last couple of years has really relied on the passing game, and specifically just targeting the main guys. Eric Rivers last year, and I know Penn State fans are aware of that name. He's a guy who had over 1,000 rushing yards, broke the school record for most yards in a single season, broke the school record for most receiving touchdowns in a single season. Before that, you had Chris Mitchell, who I know his brother's on the Penn State team as well, so he broke that same exact record except the receiving touchdowns. But FIU, for the first time in program history, had 13 different players record at least 1 reception in the game against Bethune. So it just shows that they're going to spread the ball around a lot more this year. Willie Simmons noted this, that he feels good about 10 to 11 as receivers. And those are freshmen too. 3 of them are freshmen. Tyson Carter, Kenny Williams, Amari Isaac. I'm sure they'll be in the game at some point. But I think maybe from week 1 to week 2 is where you see the biggest jump for your teams. And that's one thing that he noted and he wants to see. There was a lot of bad penalties, and he expects that to change, and I think that's going to be one of the biggest things. They want to run the ball to open the pass, and then eventually find the balance between both. Something that we hadn't seen in previous years, where they relied heavily on the pass. They had extra blockers with tight ends, but now you're going to see more usage on your tight ends. It's more of 11, 12 personnel. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this looks. I think we saw a pretty fine balance. Kewan had a fine game, wasn't the best game he could have had. But they've been in Big Ten territory before. They've been in SEC territory, and for some reason they end up, playing pretty well against those teams, almost beating Arkansas, Indiana. That game was one of the closer games Indiana played all season when you end up looking at it. So I don't think that will be the case for this Penn State game, but hopefully it is at least through the first half.
Now, Kevin, you said that it's with 6 rushing touchdowns. That's a lot. So the running backs down there, is there one guy to take a look at, or is this more of a running back by committee type thing down there? Like, what should we expect to see from FIU?
Yeah, it's going to be more running back by committee, but the main name to look at is Keyshawn Owens. He entered the transfer portal, Miami Central product, withdrew his name to return to FIU. But they've said this from the spring. They believe they have running back 1A, 1B, 1C. It's KJ Owens, Anthony Carey, Devontae Lyons. Anthony Carey, Georgia Tech transfer, had a career high in rushing yards in his last game. Got a little bit of run at Georgia Tech, but comes to FIU, better opportunity. Was very big in the passing game for FIU last week against Bethune. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that continues to be the case. Willie Sims is actually looking to really see how his running backs stack up against his Penn State defense. Probably won't be great, but should be fine enough. And then you have Devontae Lyons. He's a redshirt freshman. Played in the final 4 games of the season for FIU. Was the only FIU running back to have an 100-yard rushing game in a single game last season for FIU. So just goes to show how bad the running game for FIU was last season. So I think we'll see a lot of those three guys who split their up pretty evenly. They played them quite a bit. So I think that'll be the case. And they'll try to get the run game going against what is probably the best defense in college football, maybe top 2. So it's got to be up there.
Yeah, with incoming defense coordinator Jim Knowles still working out some kinks. Nevada didn't really get going until the 2s and 3s came in last week, but they're still working through some things with communication and that type of stuff. There is a history between Penn State and Florida International. They played once before in 2007.
Wasn't great.
Scores 59-0. Unfortunately, is Penn State kind of the biggest crowd FIU will see or has seen?
Yes. It's as simple as that. Yeah. That was actually that 2007 game was actually Mario Cristobal's first ever game here at FIU. So not a good start for him there, but ended up being pretty good. Sun Belt champs at one point and all that. So you'll take it.
Yeah. Is there any preparation happening for the noise, or is it just kind of they've been in big stadiums before and it's
the same stuff, right? I mean the put up the crowd noise a little bit, put up the music a little higher, but realistically, no. I mean, they've played in big crowds before. That Indiana game, I'm sure, was a sellout crowd. Obviously, not as big as Penn State, but they've played in those crowds before. Willie Simmons noted it. Like, he played Texas A&M once. He was the Clemson quarterback. Like, he's been in these crowds before. Florida State, he was had to play against. So he's aware of this. And obviously, it's a pretty young team. A couple guys who've obviously been in Big Ten territory before, like Kiwan, KJ, and then you have guys coming from the power conference level. So not the only ones that I'm sure they've seen some crowds. Like I asked, for example, Anthony Carey. He says like the Virginia crowd, the Virginia Tech crowd was the biggest one he's seen. So this will probably be the same, if not more. So yeah, they're preparing for it. Definitely are. And you have to. You have no other option.
So that being said, this being the number 2 ranked school in the country right now. So I don't know if you have any insight. What does like FIU see as like a success in this game? What do the fans and the coaches want to see coming into and coming out of the Penn State game?
Yeah, just keep it close until the half, right? I think that's what you hope. Obviously, the biggest thing is come out healthy. Don't get hurt. Limit the injuries. When you're out of it, just throw in your 2s and let's get it over with, right? Collect your check and let's get out of it. So I think that's the biggest thing. I would like to see a competitive game up until the 3rd, hopefully, right? I mean, just for the sake of it, not to get bored watching this game, but I think that's the biggest thing. Just come out healthy, because next week you have your rivals, Florida Atlantic in the Sugar Bowl game that FIU needs to win. Like, they really need to win that game to make sure that you could scrape out 6 wins for a bowl game. So, I think just coming out healthy is the biggest thing.
Yeah, I know last year Bowling Green pushed Penn State till 3rd, 4th quarter. So it's not something that's impossible to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I think maybe you guys would agree. I think FIU is the toughest of the non-con for Penn State. I know it's I don't want to say cupcake non-con, but it is pretty there. It's kind of theirs. And I think FIU would be the toughest of those 3 opponents.
Yeah, we just found out this week that originally this was the week we were supposed to play Virginia Tech at Penn State, but COVID canceled those plans, so we didn't go there in 2020, so they canceled the return trip in 2025. So this was kind of a meshed together in the last 5 years instead of scheduled out 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
With that being said, go ahead, Andy.
Well, I was going to say we've kind of focused on the offense. What would be the strengths or weaknesses on the defense for FIU?
Yeah, I think James Franklin noted this guy, Brian Blades. He's the cornerback for FIU. I think that if there's any guy that would make it to the NFL or to get drafted, they think it's this guy. They think he's really good. Obviously, the last name speaks for itself. A lot of family ties there with that one. But yeah, he was one of the top rated coverage corners for PFF last season. They really like him. They think he's really good. He was chosen to go to the Conference USA Media Days alongside Kewan Jenkins and Willie Simmons. So they believe he's the leader of this defense. Then you look at the edge rushers, a lot of change there, but one returner who is starting is Keegan Davis, put up career high numbers last season on all aspects of the game. On next to him is Kenton Simmons, who another edge rusher. I know Franklin also mentioned him as one of the bigger guys on the team that kind of fits the part with the Big Ten. So hopefully he had a sack in the last game. Hopefully that continues to be the case in this one. But yeah, I think the defensive line is going to be a big thing to watch for. Safeties is another big situation for FIU. They rotated them a lot in the last game. They've been doing that since the spring. But worth noting, they are rolling out a true freshman to start, Josiah McGrew, long guy from Florida State Seminole College, high school. And yeah, they really like him. They think he's really good. They think he's been making plays since the spring, and they believe this is a guy who's really going to come in and help them out right away. They have him. They have Shamir Sterling, a redshirt freshman. Then you have Websley Etienne. You have Antonio Patterson there. Demetrius Hill, another Big Ten opponent that I believe got hurt actually in that Penn State game a couple of years ago. So tough for him, but comes back. That's probably an opportunity to, to get some revenge, hopefully. And yeah, there's a lot of guys in that safety room that they really feel good about. Similar to the wide receiver room, they're going to rotate a lot of those guys.
So it's almost like it seems like the DBs, I'm sorry, the defensive line is almost going to be like a rotation, try to keep fresh bodies in there, try to keep Penn State on their toes kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they really didn't rotate quite as much last week in the defensive line. It was more the safeties, more the DBs that they really rotated, but because they have some big dudes in that defensive line, they just have to keep there. Like, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the first name. They call him Big Sue. You guys can search him up. Number 19, I think he is. Huge dude, Marshall transfer, massive, like probably one of the biggest dudes I've ever seen step foot into this FIU campus. So he is huge. Then you have Quaylen Hill, who benches 700 pounds, squats 700 pounds. So those videos are all over Twitter if you want to find them.
Oh my God.
I've been told that is one of the hardest dudes to move in practice. So hopefully that's enough to hold on to Katron Allen and Nick Singleton there for a little bit. But yeah, I think that defensive line certainly was a question coming into camp and coming into the season, but certainly I think just how big they are and how much bigger they are in years past really is going to help and how much stronger.
That's going to be interesting too, because against Nevada, Penn State's run game did not look good at all. So I'm very curious to see how it's going to stack up against a guy who can literally squat 700 pounds. That's insane.
Hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, I think another one of the matchups, like you said, with Blades is Penn State brought in all new receivers, and Nevada was pretty weak on the secondary. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can get open against Blades and some of these more athletic defensive backs.
Definitely, yep.
Do you have any predictions for us? A score prediction?
Well, I think FIU will keep it close until the half, but I do think it ends up being a 55-14 win for the Nittany Lions.
All right. Well, thanks, Kevin, for joining us. Pleasure to have you. And, go FIU the rest of the way.
Yeah, right. Pause up. So thank you guys for having me on, and we'll see how this goes on Saturday, right? So
absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you so much,
guys. Yep.
Yeah, so, good insight there from Kevin. Give us kind of what's going on there with FIU and everything. And give, a lot of players that we didn't know of before. You're on mute.
First of all, I hate my voice. When I hear it, it makes me cringe. But Big Sue, that's who I'm looking for on Saturday. I'm looking out tomorrow for Big Sue. That's who I want to see. I want to see what he can do.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely a player to look for them. And, we need to see Penn State be what they're going to be this year and start, they say the biggest improvements between week 1 and week 2. And that's what we need to see. We just need to see them keep getting better and better, and then find out about this team come week 5 against Oregon.
With that being said, too, Kevin did set his over at 69, 55-14.
Yeah, he's going high scoring. Last I seen, though, there might be some weather to this game. Let me go see if that's still the case real
Yes. Double or nothing. Yes.
quick.
Yes.
Yeah, like, let's see if I can look up the weather real quick if you want to fill a little bit of time here. Let's see. State College, PA. What are we looking at tomorrow? We are looking tomorrow, mostly cloudy and not as warm, a couple of showers. A rain jacket might be needed for the game.
Love to hear it. Some good old football weather.
Run the ball.
Run, run, run.
All right. That'll do it for us with the game preview here. This is our 22nd live episode here with you guys. Channel keeps growing. We love that you guys keep watching, helping us grow this community. And let's hit the outro music again.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
And we'll see you guys after the game tomorrow.